This is Zen English Podcast, trying to help you be comfortable in your English, especially when you're not exactly right. Talking about being right, I think it's important that you get used to the idea of being not right, but sufficiently right when you're trying to communicate your ideas in English. We've talked a lot about in this podcast doing things like lowering your expectations, focusing on message, understanding gist. Well, don't forget that in all of this dialogue that we're participating in, that there's another person that's there, our listener, our audience. Dialogue, die. 2. We must try to include, count on, and depend upon that number 2 in this participation, our audience. They are there to help us in our communication. In this cell phone world, many times people call it a mobile, but in this cell phone world where people are communicating with their face buried in a screen, we forget, and perhaps we are losing the idea that there's another person on the end of our communication. We need to get out of the one dimension, and especially when we're worried about things like being correct and correct vocab choice and syntax and grammar, it's important for us to remember to communicate as we would in our native language, not only through the language that we're speaking, but with the other person or other people that are contributing to the tapestry of ideas which we are expressing. By keeping in mind that the other person or other people in our conversation and communication have the responsibilities of paying attention and interpreting our ideas as well as listening to us, intent on deciphering some of our foibles, that's foibles, small errors, we can alleviate some of the pressure we put on ourselves to communicate perfectly. And as we've talked about so many times here, when we lower the stress, when we take that pressure off of ourselves, we are able to heighten and improve our own communication. Don't forget to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be listened to, heard, and participate with your audience. Don't feel the pressure to be perfect in your speech. Perfect is only a Hollywood dream meant to sell films. If your communication is carried out together with your fellow communicators in a true yin-yang dynamic, you will be able to not communicate perfectly, but communicate entirely. Help yourself along when trying to include your listeners by using verification questions, not for understanding, but for being understood. Try asking a few questions throughout your dialogue in order to help include your listeners. Ask things like, do I make myself clear? You know what I mean? Do you catch what I'm saying? Does that make sense? How can I explain this better? Do you have all the information that I'm trying to express? And the standard colloquial sayings, do you catch my drift? And got it? Let yourself be open to the idea that others have the job of listening to you, not just your words, but your ideas. This will help you communicate better because you'll be more free, more participative, and not alone in your communication. This has been Zen English Podcast.